In this video, I'm going to show you how to airbrush a really basic feather using a paper template. Let's get into it right now. So the first thing you're going to need is just a reference image. I found this image on Canva and just printed it on regular copy paper, A4 size. And I'm using a canvas board which is slightly bigger than A4. You can see if I place the A4 sheet on the canvas is slightly larger. I've pre-painted the canvas board with a Mars grey, and now with the reference image and a hobby knife, all I'm going to do is cut around the outside edge. Don't worry too much if you don't get all of these little bits in there accurately. I like to twist my knife around to sort of curve it. Makes it easier to get these random sort of stray fibers of the feather in there. So what I'm actually making is a negative stencil. So negative meaning the outside edge, and I'll be spraying in the positive section, which is the center piece. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same, just using this to create your outline. And this is good as well if you want to do, say, a feather on either side of a Harley tank or a helmet or something like that, then you can use this method to replicate your design and you know it's going to be the same size. Now, paper templates aren't always going to be a good idea. If it's a real complex design, then it may be a bit of an issue. However, I still do use them for things like portraits especially, where you can cut out key sections of the face and then you know that you're accurately spraying it. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. So you can see here, this is our positive mask and this is the negative mask. We're going to be using the negative mask for the main part of it, but I will utilize this as well. And what I want to do is just run along that center section, and I'm just going to cut that out. Now you can do this on a white background as well. Obviously with the grey, I'm going to need to start with white. And I'm just going to cut out some of these areas here. Now we're left with this. So you can see there's my positive template. So what I want to do first, just to help the template stick a little bit to the surface, so I'm going to use a spray adhesive. And with the spray adhesive, just spray lightly on the back of it. Let it tack off a little bit. Position your feather wherever you like it. Go like that. Press it down. And then you want to mask up around the edge as well. You could also skip this step and then just blend it back in with the grey. It doesn't take that much to just tape it up now. And then you know your background colour is protected. Make sure you get all the little spots. And then using white, I just want to get a tone on there. Now you'll notice before I start, I've actually flipped the feather design. So as I said, you can do it any which way you like. And I want to just get a decent coverage on there. Now because I'm working on canvas, the paper template with the spray adhesive should hold reasonably well, but I want to make sure that I'm still angling my airbrush straight onto the surface to try and help keep that template in place by using the air to naturally keep it pressed down. You can see it's starting to lift in certain areas. That's okay, we'll just do bit by bit. As you can see, it's lifting quite a bit. Now if this was on something like an aluminium composite panel, you're not going to have this drama. But that's okay, we'll still use the template while we can, and then I can clean things up later, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to use a bit of a flesh tone colour now. Doesn't really matter what kind of flesh tone you have, this is just one I've mixed up. I'll leave a link to a video in the description below which will show you how to mix up a basic flesh tone using primary colours, but any flesh tone will work. And essentially what I want to do with this flesh tone is work up this centre section and dust around here a little bit just to tone it down from the white. I may bring some highlights into it later. Just dust in like that. Also give a bit of a random dusting around the edge, but you can see it's heavier through the center, slight dusting around the edge, and then I fogged in these areas as well. I'm going to use a sepia brown or sepia brown. I'm going to use that tone as my base for the feather. Working around the edges first. Using my finger to keep that template in place. That's why I've put the glove on. That way you don't get paint all over you. A little bit less on these areas, and I'm just going to run a bit of a shadow along here as well. You see it's starting to come together, but still needs a bit of that detail in there. Now using a transparent black, so I've just mixed up black with some transparent base. I'm going to put some feather strokes in there, so just doing a little bit of a dagger stroke. And then blocking in around the edge. If you go over this center part, don't worry too much. And it's starting to look more and more like a feather. And then a bit of shading in this section as well. And again on the stem here. This can be fairly uneven. And now utilizing the positive template, what I'm going to do is line that up, place that on our design, and then I'm going to highlight this center section using the flesh tone mix that I used earlier. So I'm not using white. I'll spray these bits as well. You can remove that, and now you can see we've got our sharper area through there, and I know exactly where that center part of the feather is. And now I'm going to do some freehand work and join that all in. If you haven't got the skill level to do the freehand, then you can run some tape along there and create any of these straighter edges once I get to them. But again, this is a very simplified feather, something that you can really have a go at even if you're a beginner. Beauty of this is you can be nice and uneven, deliberately not using the airbrush correctly to get a more of a organic appearance. I'm going to run some strands in here as well. Not everywhere. And from a distance, going to highlight a little bit as well. That's going to give our feather a bit more of a 3D effect. Now I'm going to go ahead and unmask it because the rest I can do freehand. You see where we're at. Now utilizing my transparent black, I'm going to pull out some of that detail. This will be the most challenging part. Can bring some finer strands back in there. Working from that darker section back in, but don't go right over all this. Now to clean up the design, I'm going to reposition my original template. However, I'm going to mask up these sections so I don't get any overspray on the artwork. Just going to line that up. These bits here will stick enough for me to just dust over it using that initial Mars grey. This is a great way to clean up your overspray if you do get some. Okay, so cool little trick I learnt from Mike LaValle, and I've just cut a new one of these because my other one was pretty bad. Just grab your negative template and just drop it down a little bit, so offset it. If you want to check, just lift up an area like so, and then from a distance just lightly dust over that. You don't have to go too heavy at all. And then take that off, and now you have a cool drop shadow. So to continue your learning, be sure to check out some of the other videos and playlists that I've got listed here. And until next time, go grab your airbrush, do some amazing artwork yourself, and I'll see you again very, very soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.